Hello and welcome back to our channel. Today we'll be discussing the possibility of a 13.0 magnitude earthquake and what the consequences of such an event would be. Earthquakes have been a part of our planet's natural history for millions of years. They are caused by the sudden movement of tectonic plates in the Earth's crust. While earthquakes of varying magnitudes occur regularly, the likelihood of a 13.0 magnitude earthquake is extremely low. However, scientists continue to study the possibility of such a catastrophic event, and in this video, we'll be discussing the potential consequences of a 13.0 magnitude earthquake. Before we begin, it's important to note that the information we'll be presenting is hypothetical and based on scientific projections. It's important to always be prepared for any type of emergency, including earthquakes. Now, let's get started. Firstly, it's important to understand where a 13.0 magnitude earthquake could potentially occur. It's likely that such an event would happen along the Pacific Ring of Fire, an area in the Pacific Ocean where tectonic plates collide. The consequences of a 13.0 magnitude earthquake would be devastating. The seismic waves from such an event would be felt across the globe and could cause extensive damage to buildings, bridges, and other infrastructure. The earthquake would trigger numerous aftershocks, some of which could also be of high magnitude. Tsunamis could also occur, particularly along coastal areas. The impact of such an earthquake on human life would be significant. It's likely that many people would be injured or killed, and emergency response teams would be overwhelmed. The aftermath of a 13.0 magnitude earthquake would be long-lasting. Rebuilding and reconstruction efforts could take years, and the economic impact could be significant. It's important to note that there are measures we can take to prepare for an earthquake, regardless of its magnitude. These include creating emergency kits, having a plan in place for communication and evacuation, and securing buildings and infrastructure to withstand earthquakes. As mentioned in the video, a 13.0 magnitude earthquake would have devastating consequences. It's important to understand that this magnitude is incredibly rare. In fact, the largest earthquake ever recorded had a magnitude of 9.5. However, it's still important to consider the potential impacts of such an event. One of the biggest concerns with a high-magnitude earthquake is the potential damage to infrastructure. Buildings, bridges, and other structures could collapse, leading to extensive damage and loss of life. In addition, the earthquake could trigger landslides and other geological hazards, which could further compound the damage. Tsunamis are another major concern in the aftermath of a high-magnitude earthquake. If the earthquake occurs along a coastline, it could trigger a massive tidal wave that could cause even more damage and loss of life. In some cases, tsunamis can travel for thousands of miles and affect areas far from the epicenter of the earthquake. Emergency response teams would also face significant challenges in the aftermath of a 13.0 magnitude earthquake. With so much damage and destruction, it's likely that they would be overwhelmed and unable to provide assistance to everyone who needs it. This is why it's so important to have a plan in place for communication and evacuation, as well as emergency supplies and equipment. The economic impact of such an earthquake would also be significant. Rebuilding efforts could take years and cost billions of dollars. Businesses and communities could be devastated, leading to job loss and other economic challenges. It's important to remember that the impact of an earthquake goes far beyond just the physical damage. So, what can we do to prepare for an earthquake, regardless of its magnitude? As mentioned in the script, creating emergency kits and having a communication and evacuation plan are important first steps. It's also important to secure buildings and infrastructure to withstand earthquakes, through measures like earthquake-proofing and building codes. Overall, while a 13.0 magnitude earthquake is incredibly rare, it's still important to consider the potential consequences and take steps to prepare for any type of earthquake. By being aware of the risks and taking preventative measures, we can help minimize the impact of earthquakes on our communities. In conclusion, while the likelihood of a 13.0 magnitude earthquake is low, it's important to understand the potential consequences of such an event. By being prepared and taking preventative measures, we can help minimize the impact of earthquakes on our communities. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.